Oh, there's a pretty one, Ulysses. There it is.
Hello, I'm Shawn the Book Maniac. I said I didn't think I was going to do a reaction video to the release of the Booker long list, but what the hell? You know, it's my reactions that people like, and I mean, I don't care about the horse race, the Booker whispering particularly, but I do have. It's going to define. It's going to shape the rest of my year's reading. I'm very curious to see what's going to be on the list. There are a few that I'm hoping, but let me explain why Shawn the Book Maniac. If you haven't been following my recent videos, then you might be surprised. Why is Shawn the Book Maniac paying attention to a book prize, for God's sakes? Well, I said last year, after reading Shuggy Bane by Douglas Stewart and absolutely loving it, and saw that it was on the long list, I vowed publicly, fool that I am, that if it won, I would read the long list in 2021. And here we are. So, thanks, Douglas Stewart. No, actually, thank you. What a marvelous novel. And he's got a new one coming out 2022 sometime. I thought about I could film this whenever, because I had to really kind of rush to get started at 5 to 8 in the morning my time, which is 5 to midnight in the UK, and I'm so terrible with time zones that I thought that this would all be happening tomorrow. So I got a Voxer message from Britta in the middle of the night. It didn't wake me up. Britta knows that the middle of the night Voxer messages never wake me up, but I saw it when I woke up at around 4 o'clock that she said, "Oh, you must be excited, only 6 more hours," and she sent it at 2 a.m. my time. I thought this was all happening tomorrow. So anyway, I did go back to sleep, and I have rushed, and I have shaved, and I have showered, and I've got potatoes boiling for my shrimp, corn, potato, wasabi, mayonnaise lunch, and rice cooking for my swordfish rice breakfast. So while all that's happening, and there may be noises later, excuse me, life happens, at least cooking does, here are some that I'm curious about for the list. Tori Peters' Detransition Baby is one of my top reads this year. I don't expect to see it. I don't think it's a Booker book. I was delighted to see it on the Women's Prize. It's a book that I think everyone should read, and it had a huge impact on me. But I'm not sure that it's a Booker book, whatever that means. But I won't be surprised if it's not there. But if it is, I'll be delighted. I have not read this, but I'm kind of hoping to see it on the long list, because that will mean that it will be the one that I start reading the soonest, and that is Sunjeev Sahota's third novel, China Room. I have it, haven't read it, dying to read it. Heard a little bit of buzz about it, that would be in contention. I believe his last novel, which I absolutely loved, The Year of the Runaways, yeah, it was shortlisted for the 2015 Booker Prize, so that pretty much guarantees that subsequent books by the same writer, if I've learned anything from Eric Carl Anderson at all, if you've been nominated once, your future output gets a weighted kind of more consideration. So yeah, I'll be happy to see it on the list. I am reading, it's a buddy read with Bob the Bookerer, the South African novel The Promise by Damon Galgut, and I'm loving it. We're about halfway through, and I'll be disappointed if it's not on the long list. It was Eric Carl Anderson's passionate review that led me to want to read it, and started me thinking that it would be a Booker nominee. And also Galgut was previous book. The two of his previous books have been shortlisted, The Good Doctor and In a Strange Room. I really enjoyed The Good Doctor, and I haven't read anything else by him. This seems very much like a Booker book, but I don't think, and to the degree that I'm going to weigh in on these kind of Booker whispering, stuff that Eric and Kieran and Bob the Booker do so well, that's not my bag, but I would say I don't think the prize should go to two gay white men in a row. But it's an excellent, excellent novel. If it made the shortlist and it didn't win, that would be the only reason. Plus, isn't there like the head of the Anglican Church is on the Booker Prize judging? So, yeah. Too bad, Damon. Who made that decision? Jesus. Anyway, here's a novel that it could uncomfortably be called a Canadian novel, but is much more accurately termed an indigenous novel from a writer who very uncomfortably and very with a lot of fabulous protest and literature, uncomfortably lives in her territory within what is now Canada. How's that for a description? Nupaming, The Cure for White Ladies by Leanne Bata-Sanosake Simpson. And I'm only about a sixth of the way in, but absolutely loving it. It is Booker worthy and would upset all the Booker stuff by making it all the way to the top, making it to the short list, because it is such a non-settler Western literary novel. It just turns everything about Western literature on its head. It's absolutely fabulous. And as I said when I talked about it in my Friday reads, it kind of hums in my hands. It throbs when I'm reading it. It's powerful. And this should not have been left to the last, because this is the one that I will be the most ecstatic to see on the Booker list, because it is one of the best books I've ever read, and certainly my top read of 2021 so far. From Australia, The Yield by Tara June Winch. She is a Wiradjuri writer, and this novel is just amazing. I did this as a buddy read with Greg of Supposedly Fun, and I was so bowled over by it that I couldn't string two words about it, and immediately started rereading it, and I'm rereading it very slowly. So those are my thoughts pre-announcement. Let's see what's going on. Oh, I started to say that I thought I could just film this anytime and just not look at Twitter and not look at anything, but I knew that probably there would be a New York Times headline flash across the screen, and people would be voxering me and texting me, because everybody knows that I'm doing it this year, so that I probably couldn't do it at 5 minutes after the list had been released. Oh, well, it's now 8:03, so I'm not seeing anything. Do you know what I hate? Here's a pet peeve. This is why I'm never going to get invited to come in my suit to the Booker office I hate that all the literary prizes, this started, about 3 years ago? They don't put a list on their website. They only put it in a GIF video format, so you have to watch the whole GIF, and you have to go to a newspaper article to find the list printed. I hate that. Anyway, Booker, I'm searching Booker on Twitter, and the first thing that comes up is Devin Booker, sports person. Booker Prize, come on. Really? Did I have the time wrong? Okay, there it is. 11 seconds ago. Da-da-da-da. Oh, well, there, I just said that they only put it up as a GIF. But no, there it is in textual form. I take it all back, Booker. So, here is the list. A Passage North by Anuk Arudpragasam. I don't think I'm quite pronouncing his name right. I'm delighted to see it here. I read his first novel. I loved it. And I just heard him interviewed on a BBC book podcast yesterday. And was going to order this before, and now I have a very good reason to. I am not... okay. Anyway, let's go. Second place by Rachel Cusk. I will have more to say about that. The Promise by Damon Galgut is there! Okay, now I'm getting into it. Well, The Sweetness of Water by Nathan Harris. Now, the title rings a bell, but I've never heard that author's name. Klara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. I'm not an Ishiguro fan, and this novel sounds awful. But anyway, now I have to read it. I get to bail. I think I've always said that, but if I haven't, let me tell you right now. I'm going to try everything on the long list, but if I hate it, I'm bailing. So, An Island by Karen Jennings. I don't know that. A Town Called Solace by Mary Lawson. I believe she might be a Canadian writer, but I don't know that book. No One Is Talking About This by Patricia Lockwood. Well, that's not true. Everyone's talking about it. It was on the Women's Prize, and is that the one that's kind of about Twitter? It sounded interesting, so I'm happy to see it. Here is only, I think, the second... Well, I don't know some of these authors that have been mentioned, but I think this is only the second non-white writer, just going by the name. The Fortune Men by Nadifa Mohamed. Bewilderment by Richard Powers. Oh, God. Well, I'm predicting that's going to be a bail. I'm predicting that's going to be bail and Klara and the Sun. Oh, Richard Powers. China Room by Sunjeev Sahota! Yes! Yes, okay, I'm going to start this. This will be the first one I start. And I'm reading The Promise now, so. Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. I have heard of her, but I don't remember what I've heard. And Light Perpetual by Francis Spufford. How do you pronounce his name? Spufford, I think. His first novel didn't sound interesting. I'm be glad to try this one. So that's my reaction. Now let's. Rachel Cusk. What is she doing? She's not writing literary fiction. What is she writing? She's writing. I don't know what she's doing. I'm not interested in anything that she's doing. So maybe she's striking out on a new path. A woman invites a famous artist to use her guest house in the remote coastal landscape where she lives. A study of female fate and male privilege. Well, maybe this one is not about where the first-person narrator doesn't actually appear in the novel. It's just her impressions of the people around her. Maybe this is kind of more normal. The other thing that kind of bugs me about her, and I know I should get over it, is that she's always nominated for Canadian literary prizes because she was born there, but she left. Her family left when she was 2 years old. But anyway, I guess a Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian. Curmudgeonly reaction video. Did you expect anything less? The Sweetness of Water by Nathan Harris. I'm actually very excited that there's a lot of these that I don't know anything about, don't even recognize the name of the title or author. That makes me very happy. It's a historical novel set in the Reconstruction era in Georgia. I'm assuming then that the author might not be white. That would be nice. He's not. Okay, excellent. And it's got a high rating on Goodreads. That's all I need to know. I'm excited to read that one. Claire in the Sun, but An Island, Karen Jennings. Never heard of her. A man who lives alone on an island managing the lighthouse. A refugee's washed up on the shore, which triggers memories for the lighthouse keeper of his past life on the mainland. He grew up in Africa under the colonialists. There isn't actually a plot synopsis on the Goodreads page. That was a Goodreads review that told me that. So that one might be by a non-white author. Here's an interview with her. I think she's a South African writer. I'm gonna have to go to image search for her name to find out she's white. So 2 white South African novelists on the list. I'm not sure that I love that. Where are the black South African writers? I'm sure, I don't know any details, but I'm sure there must have been a lot of very worthy contenders. Now, I think that Damon Galgut's novel deserves to be here, and I'm sure this one does too, but 2 white South African novels? Really? For somebody who said he wasn't going to be commenting on all this stuff, I'm commenting on a lot of stuff here. A Town Called Solace by Mary Lawson. Am I right that she's Canadian? Well, the CBC has got an article on her, so that's set in Northern Ontario. She's obviously a white writer, and this, Crow Lake I've heard of. I think my mom read that. In Northern Ontario, a young woman's waiting for her missing sister to return home. And then there is a neighbor across the street or something. Okay. Newpoming should have been here instead of this one. If they had to pick one Canadian, I hope it's good. I'm looking forward to reading it, but is Nadifa a woman? I'm going to guess that they are. Maybe not. Oh, this is, I have heard of this. This is about a man of maybe Indian origins in Cardiff's Tiger Bay in 1952, with a lot of Somali and West Indian sailors, Maltese businessmen, and Jewish families. Well, that sounds interesting. I think I have heard a little bit about that. Oh, Nadifa Mohamed is a woman. She's a Somali-British novelist. Yay! She's very young. Well, she was in 2014 because she was on the African 39 list of writers under 40. She was born in what is now the Republic of Somaliland in 1981. Oh, I'm excited about that one. Bewilderment by Richard Powers. I don't need to know anything about it. I already don't like it. Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead appears to be a historical novel spanning Prohibition-era Montana, Greg, the Pacific Northwest, Alaska, New Zealand, wartime London, and modern-day Los Angeles. Wow. It's about a daredevil female aviator. Well, that sounds pretty interesting. And Maggie Shipstead she lives in Los Angeles. That's an American writer that... What else has she written? Astonish Me. I'm not for seating arrangements. None of those are ringing much of a bell. That one sounds pretty interesting. And Light Perpetual by Francis Spufford. I'm going to have to learn how to pronounce him. Is it also a historical novel? It's a brilliant, capacious experiment with fiction, according to The Guardian's review. 5 young victims of a wartime bomb are resurrected. Now, I would cringe at that it's kind of like ghost stuff, but there are ghosts in Damon Galgut's The Promise, and I not only had no problem, I thought that it was very effectively done, so I'm not going to cringe. I don't think I need to know any more of that. So, I gotta buy a whole bunch of books. Now, my mom has this new birthday policy. I don't think she'd mind me telling you. You get for your birthday, you get $10 for every year of life. So, let's just say I got quite a bit more than $500 for my birthday in January, and I've been saving it for buying the Booker long list. So, here we go. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Thanks for watching.